Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host, and today is a guided meditation. And what you can expect is that the practice will open up with a brief recap, followed by the actual practice itself. If you find today's episode valuable, please share with your friends and family, and feel free to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The show will begin after the following chimes. Today's practice was kind of being open to life, open to the experience, open to the moment. And it was inspired by a quote I read in a book called 100 Essays That Could Change Your Life by Brianna West. Oh, I can't pronounce her last name, but the quote said, real emotional maturity is how thoroughly you let yourself feel everything. Everything, whatever comes, it is simply the knowing that the worst thing that could ever happen is a feeling at the end of the day. Right? And that's not to downplay it, but really that's how it shows up. It shows up as a feeling within us. And so I thought one of the ways we could kind of experience that quote was through this idea of our open awareness. We do this in practice. Typically, I will open us up at the end of practice. I usually do a lot of focused work, but this time I flipped it around and had us go really, really wide and kind of just be with everything that was available today. And I kind of guided you with prompts along those lines to just welcome in, observe, be curious, learn, investigate, and communicate with yourself a little in that way. We also kind of felt into the breath, into the body, got a sense of what that felt like, contrasted that a little. And then once we kind of went from the wide aperture of our attention, I asked you to bring it into a specific location in your body that you chose, and to sit with it and hold it in that location, and to do that with the soft and gentle touch as well. And then, brought it back around to the breath. I ask you to slow that down. Notice what that does. Sometimes when we slow down the breath, it slows down the mind, slows down the whole process. So it's a nice way to remind ourselves that we can use our breath to throttle things down a little. And then, that wrapped us up and brought us to a closure today and completed out the entire round of practice. So I thank you all for being here, because it doesn't work if you don't. My name is Dominic, and this is a 30-minute guided meditation that I'm going to be leading you through. It's going to be a non-movement class. Take it seated, lying down, comfortable position where you can breathe and be still, or be still to the best of your ability. And then as we go through practice, you can expect for me to kind of tee up various kind of focus areas. And once I kind of put you in those areas of focus, then I'll give you some space in the practice to kind of sit with it. So that means you're gonna have pockets of silence as we go, and just treat those as just a part of the practice, an opportunity to observe and see what comes up and notice what you notice. So if you haven't done so already, start to get yourself settled in, whatever that means for you. Get a blanket, tuck yourself in nice and cozy, let your hands rest in your lap if you're taking a seat. If you're lying back somewhere comfortable, adjust your pillows. Make yourself feel a little held. Yeah, a little supported. That's probably a good word. I like that adjective. We'll use that. We start in the body because it's such a critical part of what we do. It's a container to a lot of this practice. And a lot of what comes up in you is sourced around your physical body. but you are a very dynamic being. So there's more there than just the physical. So I invite you now to close the eyes. This kind of takes out the external distraction. So the visual stimulation, if you will, gets removed when you close the eyes as you settle in. But it doesn't turn off the noise of the mind. It concentrates it a little bit, kind of puts it right in your purview. Oftentimes in the practice, we say that the mind is often like a movie screen, and we're sitting in the audience, and our thoughts and our various mental projections are kind of being displayed on the screen. And I like that metaphor. So maybe that's something to consider as you take your seat and start to settle in to the movie of your day, your life. The eyes being closed, they don't they don't really stop. They don't stop the sounds. They don't stop the sensations. All of that's there too. The mental chatter sometimes, depending on where you are today. And what I mean by that is, what did you bring into practice with you? Because the moment before this one, you had a whole life going. And that didn't just stop because you did. And one of the things I'll ask of you is, as you're here, sit with whatever is present. I'm not asking you to try to change it, even though you very well may. I'm asking you to be curious about it, to investigate it, to not shut it off or shut it down. And maybe, just maybe, try not to need it to be any certain way other than exactly how it shows up. And as we progress in our sit, as you start to settle a little, I'd like for you to draw your attention to the weight that's present in your body right now. So if you're lying back, it's a little easier to feel the weight of your body kind of being held by the bed or the surface underneath you. If you're seated, you can still feel it in your shoulders, in your hips, your hands. Last week, we played a little bit with opposites, kind of went back and forth. The opposite that's here to contrast this very dense quality that is your body is your breath. And so it's as if you feel the body and the density of it, but you can also feel the breath moving you from the inside out. So let yourself be curious about those sensations and those feelings. You can even notice that there's a point when you really settle into this kind of dance between the way your body feels and the way your breath is moving. There's almost a floating quality present. And we're sitting in this space that we call open awareness. It's kind of what I like to think of as the space in which everything unfolds. In our movie analogy, it's the screen that enables the images to be seen. And if you notice, there's always space on the screen for everything. There's space in the room for the sounds, and there's light and images moving. And it's very similar in this moment with your body and with you kind of observing the breath and body, but also to the sounds that's in your environment. You got the director's commentary overlaying by whatever internal dialogue is happening along the way. Imagine that with the next breath that it expands a little bit wider to include the space that's in front of you, behind you, beside you, above you, and below you. And as you kind of rest here in this space of openness, notice if there's any part of you that is grasping or looking for something to be a certain way. Maybe there's a train of thinking you don't want present right now, or sound you're hearing that is creating a bit of resistance. Maybe there's an ache or a pain somewhere in the body that is just doing the most. I encourage you, whatever's presenting for you, to engage with that curious attitude I mentioned. Get to know it. What does it look like? How does it feel? Where is it located? Is there textures or colors or anything associated with it? Any properties to it? It's okay in this practice if your mind gets pulled in another direction and a new thought enters, and you can simply explore that or stay where you are. Noticing where your attention is really um, collected. Oftentimes, where our attention rests is directly behind our eyes, as if we're experiencing these things that are arising from our head, from a central location. And if that's true for you, expand your peripheral vision, even here with the eyes closed, to make that space wider, to open up your central focus and to bring more of the body, more of the environment into the practice rather than just to kind of isolate it, as if your attention can kind of step back and move into the spaces and places of the body where the sensations might be arising, where you might be feeling things. As you allow yourself the opportunity to play detective with whatever's kind of here, you can even take time to interact with it, to see if there's something it wants you to know, a lesson it wants you to learn, a message it wants to give you. Openness is a requirement for us to learn. Without it, you'll miss the details. As you work your way through the journey, there is an aspect of being able to kind of let the next thing come on to the screen. So there's an aspect of being able to let go. And it might be easier for some things than others, and some stuff wants to stay around longer, and that's okay. The tools of your breath and your attention moving their way through your body in practice can help you kind of navigate this stream. As you rest in this moment, consider, is there anything that you need for yourself right now? And can you allow a bit of kindness to enter your space? And we've been resting very open here, open to life, open to the experiences of this ever changing moment to moment time. And so, one of the things that we practice often is being able to kind of widen and contrast our contract our attention and our focus. And so most of the practice to this point has taken your attention as big and as broad as you can make it. Now I'm going to ask you to bring it all in, to find a space within you where you want to collect and hold your attention. Maybe it's a part of the body that needs some support today. Maybe it rests right at the center of your chest and your heart space, or between the eyebrows and what we call in yoga your third eye, or at the base of your spine or deep in your belly. But let your attention move to one of these places and concentrate. Let your breath accompany you as if you're moving in and out with the breath from these spaces. Anytime we hold our attention in a place or a space, we're immediately met with distractions. So, should you get any, don't turn them into your enemy. Just know that you're not paying attention to where you want to be and allow your attention to return to what it was initially focused on. And you make the breath a little softer, maybe even a little slower. And then softening the breath in you. Soften any unnecessary tension, the face, the jaw, the hands. As you get lighter in the breath, notice how that ripples through the body. In this gentle way, our breath and holding ourselves in this space reminds us that the quality of awareness is a natural kind of acceptance and love that is present, that all the parts that are needed to make the experience fit in this space, they work together to make up your moment to moment experience. And that the discomfort and the things that we call suffering is predicated on our willingness to interact with or to not interact with what is actually happening. wherever you are in the practice, offer yourself a bit of gratitude for choosing to be rebellious by taking time to be still. Because in a world full of chaos, slowing down to be still is an act of rebellion. To make time, to investigate, to sit with, to be curious with all the parts that are in there. Take your time as you slowly kind of reanimate, open the eyes, bring in your visual information, kind of let things start to settle.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with Metta, may you be well.
Like and subscribe.